Hello, I'm alive. I'm just going to sit here and hope that I'm live until I can check that somebody can hear and see me. So that needs to come to my phone. If you are watching me live, can you give me a hashtag live in the comments below? And if you are getting me on replay, give me a wee hashtag replay in the comments below. Right, yes, that's good. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm just going to pop the link in so that you've got the documentation that I'm talking about. Just bear with me in just 1 second. Where are we? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Right. Okay. Great. The link now should be in the description of this video. Okay. So this was tonight's training is inspired by one of our members who has, it's a very common statement of, I've been eating really healthy and I don't understand why I'm not seeing any progress or I'm not losing weight. And this is a very, very common situation. So if this is you, you're not alone, you're not broken, there's just some changes that are likely needing to be made. Okay. So as normal, please interact, please ask questions. I'll stay on for a second at the end just to make sure I've covered everything off. So if we look at the document, I wanted to show you some very visual examples of what healthy eating looks like. So the very first picture is some chicken pasta, which is quite a common dish for us ladies with families. You know, it's easy to make, it's nice and tasty, and everybody tends to eat it, and especially if you're like my child who would happily live off pasta for the rest of his life. So the exact same dish, exact same ingredients, but the bowl on the left 800 calories, bowl on the right just under 400 calories. Okay, scroll down page to that picture, we have some steak salad, steak noodle salad with avocado. Again, about half the calories plate to plate, and they look really, really similar. And then the third one down, you can see is some yogurt, berries, chocolate, and some nut butter. Not really sure what kind of nut butter it is. These are not my dishes. My dishes do not look as presentable as this. But again, you know, coming in at half the calories. So what I want to do first of all is talk about perception of healthy foods and clean eating, inverted commas, clean eating. Now, we, as everybody in this group, is, I would probably say it's the majority of people cook fresh, cook from home, cook family meals, etc. We'll have like the odd pizza out the freezer, fish fingers or whatever. There's not a huge reliance on processed foods and ready meals, which is absolutely fine. So there is, we do get caught up in the, but I eat really healthy, why is this happening to me, etc, etc. But healthy food has kind of been put upon us over the years from the clean eating brigade. Now, yes, clean eating is great, and everybody, given the choice, would have the organic kale-ex made by the happy farmer down the road, and have the nitrate-free meats and all the rest of it. Absolutely. And it's great. You know, nutritionally, eating clean is really, really good for you. We want to try and avoid as many chemicals as possible, as little processed foods as possible, etc, etc. But eating clean for health is different from eating clean for weight loss. Okay, so on the wee document, hold on, close this down. So on the wee document, to give you an example of healthy food but not conducive to fat loss. So if you look at that pasta example, which has got 2 cupped handfuls of whole grain pasta, which we typically go, oh, that's really healthy. Now, in actual fact, whole grain pasta isn't all that much better for you than white pasta. So don't freak out if your child doesn't eat whole grain pasta and you're left with eating the white pasta. It's not that huge amount of difference. From a fibre point of view, it's not huge. It's not huge enough to make a difference. Calorie wise, there's actually, I think it's about 10 more calories per 100 grams in whole grain pasta than there is in white pasta. So from a fat loss point of view, it's no better for you. The picture on the left has 30 grams of grated cheddar, 200 grams of chicken cooked in a tablespoon of oil, versus the picture on the right has 1 handful of pasta, 20 grams of reduced fat cheddar, which is a huge calorie differentiator, 120 grams of chicken baked in the oven plus additional veg to bulk it out, and that gives it the half calories. So it's still essentially the same ingredients of healthy ingredients, it's just different quantities. Alright, so you're still eating healthy. The second picture down, which is a steak and noodle salad, in terms of visuals they look pretty identical, don't they? But the steak is got the fat trimmed off it. The steak on the picture on the right has half the amount of steak and it has the fat trimmed off it. The picture on the right has half the avocado and half the noodles, but it has more veg and more salad in that, and that's what gives it the 50% of the calories, because it's still healthy, good quality, inverted commas, clean foods. And then the picture at the bottom, which is the desserty picture, it has the same volume of yogurt, but the yogurt is 0% fat on the left and 2% fat on the right. There's 1 teaspoon of nut butter versus 2 on the one on the right, double the amount of chocolate, and there's more berries in the one on the left. So again, still clean, healthy foods. So the reason why it is so different in calories is that, I mean, all foods have calories. Healthy foods have calories, processed foods have calories, every food has calories, but calories are not always equal. So some of you might have heard of macronutrients, some of you won't have heard of macronutrients. Now, macronutrients just mean the big nutritional components that make up the food. That's all it is. That's what macros are. And they are, technically now we call it 4 macros, but we're only going to talk about 3 today. So 3 are protein. That's the muscle building blocks. The protein helps your muscles build and grow when you do resistance training and help repair your muscles. We have fat, which is so important for hormone health, for brain function, for metabolism. And we have carbohydrates, which are our body's preferred unit of energy. Okay, so if we look at all of those different components, gram for gram, so imagine a gram of protein, a gram of fat, a gram of carbs. Per gram, protein has 4 calories, carbohydrates has 4 calories, fat has 9 calories per gram. So fat is important, it just literally has double the amount of calories than protein and carbohydrates. Okay, and that's why, go back 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, however many years, low fat was the way forward. That's why things like Mueller Lights exist. That's why things like Bliss bars exist, because they've taken the fat out of them but replaced the fat with carbohydrate things. Sugars are carbs. Okay, so fat tastes good. You know, that's why so many low-fat foods are doused with chemicals, because they've taken the fat out, which makes them taste good. So there is reason why we have low-fat foods, because it reduces the calories, because it's calories in versus calories out that equates to the fat loss. Okay, so if you eat a diet of really shit processed food, like, oh, here's a good one. If you eat a diet of McDonald's mini chicken Kievs from the 90s, if anybody remembers Bernard Matthews' mini chicken Kievs, give me a little ha 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 below, because they were actually quite awesome. I don't know if you still get them. But if you're eating a diet full of processed foods, but your calories in was less than your calories that you were burning, then you are going to lose fat. However, nutritionally, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're not probably going to get the right vitamins and minerals, which are called micronutrients. Getting a bit involved there, but the principle is, if you eat less calories in than you burn, you're going to lose body fat. It doesn't matter the food that it is. The same applies though if you eat a diet of whole, single ingredient, less processed foods, but you eat more calories than you burn, you're going to gain body fat. That is the science. That is what happens. So if you have a meal of avocado, some salmon, covered in nuts, some rice, chances are that's going to be a good hunk of calories there, depending on the volumes, and that could be like 800 calorie meal, which if you're on 1500 calories or 1600 or 1700, that's quite a substantial amount of calories in one meal, and the volume doesn't necessarily need to be that high. The one thing that we do find in I've put a list here of healthy foods. Healthy foods can have lots of fat in them. It's a thing. We need fat. We need fat to function. We need fat for our brains to work properly. We need fats for our hormones. And things that you might look at and go, that's really healthy. Avocados, olives, mackerel, trout, salmon, eggs, nuts, dairy actually have quite a high fat content, and because of that they can be quite calorific. But it's really good, nutritious food, so we don't want to not eat them because they do so much good for our bodies. But on the flip side, your crisps, your cakes, your biscuits, etc., all have fat in them as well, but they're not as nutritious. Okay, so yeah, there's the example that I wanted to give you as well. And say if you say it's Sunday morning and you get a lie-in, bliss, and you're like, I'm going to have a really healthy breakfast, and you're going to have some sourdough toast with some smashed avocado with a bit of lemon juice and some dried chili flakes on top, and add some smoked salmon. That's 600 calories for breakfast straight away. But you've chosen that over the bacon roll. I personally would choose the salmon and the avocado because I think it would taste better, but a lot of people would then take that over a bacon roll or scrambled egg, bacon, sausage, because they think it's healthier, i.e. lower in calories, but it's often not. So I think what I want to get across here is the mindfulness of that calories actually do matter. They don't care so much of where it's coming from for fat loss. And yes, we want to be eating, we call it 80-20 model. We want to try and aim for 20% good quality, single ingredient, less chemically processed foods as possible, because it really supports the immune system, it supports our gut health, and all of these things are conducive to long-term health as well as fat loss. But we also don't want to solely just eat single ingredient, nutritious, good quality foods, because then you're missing out on the things that we like. Things like your chocolate, things like your wine, things like your crisps and the biscuits and the cake and whatnot. Because if we start cutting them out, then we lower our adherence to eating healthy and in a calorie deficit. And when we start, that's when we start seeing things like binge eating behaviours come in. We start rebelling, don't we, against the rules that we can't have this, and then we start thinking, I want it, I'm going to have it, and then you get the guilt because we've failed miserably at the plan. So I think here is a understanding of healthy foods are great, but if you're not seeing progress, it's because the calories are high. So we need to understand what the calorie intake is versus your calorie output. So it comes back to calories in versus calories out. All right. Who has questions for me while I am on? What? There's no questions? What is going on, my ladies? No questions. Does that make sense? Can you give me a yes or no in the comments below? That's weird. I'm watching myself on the phone, which is a bit Inception. I think that's the name of the movie that I've not watched. So hit me up with your questions on this, because it's important that we understand it. It's important that we know health foods, but also the implications on weight gain and weight loss on healthy foods. I'm just waiting for some questions.
That we
Oh
understand
no,
it.
that's me talking. Awkward. So, while I am here, I think it's a good opportunity to tell you guys about something that Clara and I are implementing. I did a post on it, but not everybody sees the post as they come through. So every month, this is going to start off as monthly. We might increase it, but we might not. But every month, Clara and I are going to come on live on a Friday and answer anything. Any questions at all, whether it's nutrition, whether it's bras, whether it's cottage cheese, brands, best favourite beers, anything at all, we're going to answer them. And it's just going to be a very informal chat, because I want you to see how normal people operate in the health and fitness space. So yes, we are both qualified coaches, nutrition coaches, fitness personal trainers, etc., etc. But we are also we also work a lot. We have a lot of responsibilities. We have families, and our mission is for women to be able to have a lifestyle as well as a physique that makes them happy. You know, we're not ever going to advocate the chicken, rice and broccoli lifestyle. Not for us. We're not bodybuilders. Oh wait, no, we're not bodybuilders. We want our women to have it all, essentially, and show you that it can be done. So think of your questions. The first one coming up is on the 11th of June. It's the 11th of June. Kate, the lovely Kate, hi Kate, has just messaged me saying there's a problem. Eek! So yes, that's coming up the 11th of June. Going to be monthly. We might increase it, we might not. It really depends on what's happening. And the second one is a request, which is quite important, and it's it's very close to my heart. Is that there's ladies in here that come on and they have either worked with us or some haven't, and they share their problems, and they share their progress, and they share how happy they are. My request to everybody is to build each other up. Comment on their successes, comment on their wins, comment on their progresses, empathise with their challenges, because this is, for me, this is a community of very specific group of women, 40s, 50s, 60s, and everybody has challenges, but everybody deserves compliments. Everybody deserves well done and recognition where it's due. So that is my request for you all, is that when you see wins, when you see progress pictures, when you see people bearing their soul, acknowledge it, empathise, congratulate, etc., etc. It means the world to the person that it is, and to me, obviously, because I'm trying to build this amazing community of people, and that requires engagement as well. So with that, I am out. If there are questions, I will obviously have to pick them up in a little while, because we can't see them, and lovely Kate can't see them either. So peace out, my darlings. I hope you have a fantastic evening and a rest of your week, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.